Lifers, and welcome back to Life Honestly. I'm Nana, and let's talk. Today we will be talking about the fact that you are not broken. Now, what do I mean by that? So, people who feel like they've been through a lot of trauma or are just constantly breaking down or whatever the case is. And I definitely felt like this, and I've said it out loud, that I just feel broken. Like all the parts of me are broken. But what I've slowly learned, and I'm slowly starting to realize, is that you aren't broken. You've just adapted to the circumstances of what you've been through. So there really is a difference between being damaged and being broken. Well, from being damaged and being wounded, sorry. So if you've been through like a whole bunch of trauma, like those are wounds that just keep on building up one on top of the other. So it may feel like you're breaking down or you're breaking slowly with each new wound. But no, with each new wound that is formed, you create another kind of coping mechanism or a way to adapt to those circumstances. And however your reaction is to those isn't wrong. And you should know that they aren't wrong. But there are ways to learn, and I am still in this process, to learn how to respond and not react. Two totally different things. And ways to cope and manage and know what to do when further instances of those types of traumas or wounds when they occur. So a couple of questions to start off, I guess. So what if the wounds that you've experienced were actually survival responses? So you believe that these wounds have broken you, but what if whatever's coming after it are just your survival instincts or responses? And then the second question is, what made you believe, if you believe, that you were too much? Too much for a situation, too much for somebody else. What made you believe that? So let's discuss in the comments and let me know your thoughts on that. So in my experiences, I definitely felt like I was broken. And this was years after my divorce, years after the previous years of trauma and abuse occurred, because my mental health was just declining because I wasn't reaching out for help. By the time I did reach out for help, like I just thought everything about me was broken. Like nothing would be able to help me. I was just like a lost cause. So, more generally speaking, over the past years, I guess since 2019, because that's when I reached out for help, I've been slowly learning how to adapt to my circumstances. Now, everything isn't hunky-dory now. Like, everything isn't fine. I'm still in the circumstances. I still have the circumstances where I'm continuously being abused in certain ways. Right now, it's more heavily on financial abuse. But even with that, it still affects your mental health and whatnot. So it's just being able to adapt and respond or not respond instead of constantly reacting. Because if you're constantly reacting, then your nervous system will constantly be on high alert and just cause more problems. So I just had to learn that before, my reactions weren't a character flaw of mine. My reactions were coming from a very protective state within my body, but I had to learn how to move out of that protective state into being able to cope. So, two different ways. And when I started to slowly learn how to cope with various different things in my life, so not necessarily just with my marriage, divorce, and what came after, but also parenting. Learning how to better myself as a parent, learning how to better myself as a friend, as a human being. Like, all of that was encompassed kind of into the same pot, so that I can move from feeling this very inner feeling of being broken and not being able to be better in any way, shape, and form, and nothing was going to help me, to learning mechanisms, coping mechanisms, to move slightly to the other side, or at least to the middle, so that my nervous system and my brain weren't constantly reacting to every little thing that felt like a danger to me. And then just this feeling, like I asked the question in the beginning, like, what made you feel like you were too much? And for me, I think the biggest thing that made me feel like I was too much for others, and this is kind of being like my whole life, but I only really realized it in the past 10 to 12 years, is that I've constantly been told that I'm too emotional, right? Or I'm too stubborn, or any of those two words. Like, I'm just too much for other people, so I need to tone it down. That's the message that I got from these types of conversations. And these were comments that have been made to me by people who were supposed to be there for me, protect me, like the closest people to me. So if those are the people that are saying these things to you, you take them more to heart than, let's say, a stranger who you don't even know, that you're just like, their opinion doesn't even matter. So that's kind of how I grew up, and how a lot of my adult life has been. So I absolutely felt like I was too much for everybody. I know that I'm a very emotional person. I'm very empathetic to others. I feel what other people feel a lot of the time. So yeah, but I had to learn that that wasn't a flaw in me. I just had to learn how to show it, maybe in healthier ways, like not to tone it down or dampen my emotions, but to use them in different ways, which have actually allowed me to get to know myself better, stabilize, or what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, I just have not so many peaks and valleys in my emotional journey, I guess. So yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, my brain just went crazy. So yeah, basically at the end of the day, don't listen to others. Trust yourself, trust your instincts, and trust your inner voice to a certain extent. I know my inner voice has been very, very critical, and sometimes it pops back in and tries to go back to the negative, and always has a differing thought that's not maybe super helpful to whatever's going on. So I just want to let you guys know to end this video that you're not broken. I'll repeat it again. You're not broken. You're just adapting, or you have adapted. And you're not weak. It's not weak to be dealing with and struggling with these hard things. What makes you stronger is being able to work through these hard things and be able to talk about it and to be able to be heard. So yeah, at the end of the day, consider this. Maybe you aren't broken. Maybe you've just had consistent trauma, which have caused consistent wounds within you that need to be worked on or addressed. So everybody out there, stay healthy, stay safe, reach out to somebody if you need the help. And that is it for this one. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.